What's going on, guys? And that was very aggressive, but I am super excited today. We have a really cool video. I've got two of my really good friends, my buddy Jim and my buddy Dave from the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast, and we're going to discuss something that doesn't really get talked about. The best third parts and beyond in a franchise that are better than the original. Because, you know, everybody always talks about the original or the sequel, and then afterward it kind of goes downhill from there. We're going to talk about the good third parts or beyond. It's a conversation you're not going to want to miss, so stay tuned. What's going on, guys? I've got two of my friends here today. We're going to talk about the third parts in franchises, the best ones that are better than the originals, because everybody always talks about the sequels, right? So we're going to go over our lists, and I've got two of my really good friends with me today. I'll let them introduce themselves. Jim.
Hey guys, hey everybody, I'm Jim. Chris and I met over at the last Menfluential conference in Atlanta in 2020, right before everything kind of shut down, and you know, the before times as we call it. But yeah, I'm a huge movie guy. Like if the camera like were to pan a little bit this way, I have like my DVD tower. And I'm very proud of it. So, yeah.
Very cool. Glad to have you here. And my buddy Dave.
What is up,
boys?
What's
going on, buddy?
What's going on, man? I've been on the show before, but if you guys never seen me before, my name is Dave. I'm just a huge nerd. That's why I'm here. That's all you really need to know.
Plus, you got a really cool podcast called Let's Talk Nerdy.
Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. If you guys like content like this, check out the Let's Talk Nerdy podcast. But anyway, that is not subscribe to this podcast first.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Show some well-rounded love to everybody, okay? Click like, subscribe. It helps us all out, okay?
But, do all the things. There's a bunch of buttons down here, guys. Just smash them all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, there's even a send money option. Just send money to while you're at it.
True.
Actually, I'll send my links too. How about that too?
Okay. Yeah. Hey, we're gonna help everybody out today. Okay.
There we go. That's what we're all about here.
Turned into a GoFundMe charity stream real quick.
Please think about the children. But all right, without further ado, I think we should get started and throw some of these movies out on our list. Who wants to go first?
Real quick, do you guys have a hard time making this list or an easy time making this list?
Kind of both.
Both.
Right? I had okay, so guys, like Chris said, we're talking about part 3s and beyonds, and these are movies where franchises, you usually get your banger number 1, you get a decent sequel, and then 3 and beyond that is kind of iffy, right? You're either bangers or it totally goes off a cliff. So I found myself having 4 or 5 on my list where I was that absolutely needs to be on there. And then after that, I was kind of thinking about it for a little bit. And I was kind of being this should be on the list, but here's that one thing that I hate about the movie that's going to keep it off my list.
Exactly.
Is that what you guys got to?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I got to the point of I'm looking at the movie and I'm well, this one's obviously better than the original, but if it wasn't for the original, we wouldn't have this. So we can't,
Right, you can't hate on the original too much because it has its character, it's got its qualities, but without it, the ones after that can't really be anything. They can't build a foundation off of.
Yeah. And I was I found myself standing in front of my movie collection, and I'm just looking and okay, wow, all right, this has 3 in it, but okay, this one's not better than the original. The sequel's better, and then this and this, and this. I'm it's time for a discussion. I need to talk to the guys.
Yeah, that's literally what I was doing. I was standing in front of my DVD racks, just looking at stuff. I'm what did I buy box sets for? Okay, why did I buy the box set? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yes.
But yeah, if you want me to kick it off, man, I got some on the list if you're ready.
All right.
Let's go. All right. First up on the list for me, gonna be a little bit controversial, I think. But I gotta go with Friday the 13th 3.
Okay.
Do you guys know why?
I'm curious as to. Well, I think I know why. I think we've talked about this before.
Okay, so spoiler alert. There's going to be spoilers in this discussion, right?
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Gigantic spoiler alert will be across your screen right now, guys. But spoiler alert, in the very first movie, Jason Voorhees is not the killer, right? So Friday the 13th 1, amazing original movie. Friday the 13th 2, Jason makes his appearance as the killer, but not quite what we know today. You know, he's wearing the bag. But 3 is where he picks up the mask and becomes
Mhm.
Jason, the iconic Jason that like we all know and love today. So that's why I think I put 3 on the list. I'm not sure if it's better than the original, but like as a part 3, probably one of the most iconic things in movie history.
Okay, and I can see that now. I'm gonna hop in here because on my list I don't have 3, but for much of the same reasons that you named, I've got part 6.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if you guys know why. If you can think of a reason why.
I have an idea why, but I would love to hear your explanation why first, so I don't sound stupid.
For much of the same reason that you gave. Like, part 3 is the first time we see him with the mask. Part 6 is the time where we actually see him more of that undead zombie Jason, right?
Yeah.
That's what one of the things that now clicks when you think of Jason Voorhees, is him being like undead, unstoppable, unkillable. Where in the other ones, like he was mostly unstoppable, but you think of the hockey mask, but then you think of also now he's a zombie. He's coming back from the dead multiple times.
Like a supernatural force. That's like the first time you really think of him as like a supernatural thing more than just like a horror movie slasher.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
I feel you. I see. I'm picking up what you're putting down. I see you.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
To add to the conversation, I'm going to throw in my 2 cents, and I'm going to go with Jason X was like, I think one of the first times I was introduced to on-screen Jason.
Really?
Really, like I remember it as a kid, and I was just like, oh, I think I vaguely remember like this hockey guy, machete wielding guy. Like I always like kind of all got them confused as a kid. Like Michael Myers, like Freddy was kind of obvious because he had the gloves, but all like the big knife hacking wielding guys. Like horror movies weren't really the thing that I grew up on, so I was kind of like on and off on them. But Jason X, when he like goes into space and he gets like that, like the upgrade with the little nanobots, and he's like bulletproof, and his brains hanging out of the futuristic hockey mask, like that one was just like, well, this is like crazy now.
Okay.
There's something about once you get in space. I feel like I feel like you really like. I love the movie. I think it's a fantastic choice, but I just think like franchises as a whole, once they hit space, like we've seen this with like Leprechaun, and you know what I mean. It's like you've done so much. The only place left to go, the final frontier. We're going to space.
Yes.
Yeah, like Fast and Furious almost.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't they already do that though? In the last one?
Like, and they're still going. They're still going more.
Yeah, drove a car in space. Okay, so that eliminates one of my picks. One of yours, Jim. What you got?
I'm gonna start off with just like I'm a huge James Bond fan, so they went beyond 3, and I think Goldfinger is definitely being the third James Bond film, really kind of solidified a lot of the aspects of the James Bond movies, from the villain to the car, the Aston Martin DB5 is such an iconic car in itself, but just like a movie car, where it has all the gadgets in it, and you don't see them all in that first time being used. But as the movies went on, and even up until the last one, it got like a modern update to instead of just having like a single barrel machine gun, it was like a rotating, almost like like heavy gun machine gun. The smoke screen wasn't used to like escape; it was used to kind of kind of hide itself. So just from that movie, from the first one, where it was just the foundations of just the character of Sean Connery being introduced into the role. It's been 50, 60 plus years of these movies, and they're still like we're in kind of hiatus right now, where there's not an actor, or there's not anything for the next upcoming roles or anything like that. But culturally, they just have so much impact in the world too.
Okay.
I think it's a great answer. I'm super curious because you sound like an uber James Bond fan, which I absolutely love. Daniel Craig, thumbs up, thumbs down?
Thumbs up.
Thumbs up? You like him?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he's really cool.
I like Daniel Craig. I don't know why people hate on him so much. I mean, I know Sean Connery's shoes and like Pierce Brosnan's shoes are kind of hard to fill, but like, I don't know. I think he's pretty cool.
I think that there's also, I think his movies are also the most rewatchable, just because like modern times. His acting is great. The action is great. Like I'm not even gonna lie. Like the soundtrack is so good. If I'm running late to work, I'll find out like a song from one of the soundtracks, and I'll just start playing it. Like, okay, I'm late, but I gotta like get the motivation to get to work on time.
Jim's like jumping over the dumpster, key fobbing into the back door, like.
Shows up in a tuxedo with a martini. It's a vibe. I was here. That's a great pick, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great pick.
Awesome. Chris, what you got?
Let's see here. I am going to go with something recent. I don't know if you guys saw it. I think we talked a little bit about it before. I'm going to go with Terrifier 3.
Wow, bringing it out, huh?
Wow. Yeah, might as well start off, right?
Might as well. Let's do it.
Yeah. Did you guys see it yet? I don't.
No.
Have you seen the other ones yet?
I've seen the first one. I haven't seen the second one.
Okay. So they have gotten better. Like, as much as I love like practical effects in horror movies where, no CGI, but it's just like latex makeup and such. And that's really what they were about. There still are like a love letter to that old style, that old 80s style of practical effects. Right.
Mm-hmm.
But the story really wasn't there for the first one. I mean, it kind of was. It was just kind of, you watch it, you're like, oh, okay. Gory, but the sequel definitely built up on it. But I felt it was a little bit long. This one kept it at the right spot, but increased the story and the practical effects. So to me, it's the most rewatchable one. I've seen it twice now. And it's just a more enjoyable film overall, in my opinion. So that's why I got to have it there. And I love Art the Clown. So
do you think part of that is like, I don't want to throw shade on the original movie. Like it's a great first movie. Do you think maybe they like the original movie? They just didn't really have high hopes for it. So like, not to say that they didn't have high hopes for it, but they kind of like knew what it was as like kind of this lower budget. We're just going to make something super gory. So they didn't really try as hard for the story, but then they saw like the popularity of it and they're like, wow, we actually really need to make this like an actual thing.
I could agree with that. I could get down with that. It's they probably were limited with the budget they had in order to what to do, and they wanted to show, like their practical effects. I think, low budget horror, prints money pretty much.
Yeah.
And but I get your point. It's kind of like the same point I made about the. This is a little off topic, but did you guys see the Mousetrap? Did you hear about it?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
No,
you saw
it?
I
don't. Yeah. I don't think I saw it.
Okay. Do you know what it is though?
Vaguely.
Okay. Well, for those that don't know, it's since Steamboat Willie, the Mickey Mouse thing, is back in public domain for the first time. They made a horror movie. They're going to make there's another one coming out too. I forget what it's called, but the Mousetrap is low budget with Mickey Mouse as the killer. The problem they had, though, is that they made it before it was actually in public domain. So, they were taking a huge gamble of like Disney getting the laws changed. So all the money that they invested in time and effort could have been down the drain, So watching it, knowing that, you got to kind of give it like a, bit of a grain of salt. But it kind of reminds me of like what you're saying about Terrifier. They just kind of like, well, let's see if this will stick.
Yeah, because like that's usually how it is with the low budget horror. They, it's like, we know what we're doing. Like, let's just make it super gory. And then they saw this like popularity and people like actually kind of in a weird sense like falling in love with this art, the clown character. The same way that they kind of like fell in love with Chucky. All these other like horror characters that are super iconic. And they're like, wow, we really have something here. Like maybe we should try to make this an actual story. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like that's why they just keep getting better and better, is because they have more popularity and they're putting more they're getting more money into the system to fund a better project.
Yeah, and I mean his art's popularity has just like quadrupled since that movie dropped, since the third one dropped. It's crazy. Like he was popular before, but now he's like everywhere. I just bought a Art the Clown Christmas ornament at Five Below.
Wow, he made it to Five Below. He's right there. He made it.
You made it, dude.
They had him hanging right next to Pikachu.
They made it.
Iconic. No, honestly, like I said, I didn't grow up on horror, so it's not really like my go-to genre for movies. But when it comes to like those kind of things that pick up on the radar, I watched it because of those reasons. Like I was sick and tired of like The Exorcist or like what's the other one? The Conjuring movies. There's many of those as there are like spin-offs as like Fast and Furious movies now, I feel like. And they have their fans and they some like I've seen like a couple, but they all just kind of like lose a little bit just because like of like the cheap jump scares or just like the CGI elements to it too. But what I like good like practical effects or like camera work and all that. And when I saw the first one, I was like, it starts off looking like it's a YouTube video until it gets to like where it actually has its money worth. And it it knows what it's doing in that realm, and then it just expanded from it. So it just makes me want to check out like I saw clips of like the second one just because I knew you were going to talk about it based on our conversation earlier this week. So I saw clips of the second one. I was like, oh, they definitely improved.
Yeah. Did you see the bedroom scene?
I did see the bedroom scene.
Yeah.
I haven't eaten in 3 days.
I'm sorry.
He's so not sorry. He's so not sorry. Look at his face. He's so happy you watched it.
Yes. It's a fun fact. The other day, I just sent my mother out of the blue. They have a mask of Vicky Hayes now. So it's a really cool mask. I got to send it to you guys afterwards, but it's like a really detailed, like up close mask. And I just sent that to my mom out of the blue, and she like called me, but she's like, "What's that? Why do I answer your messages?"
It's like I gotta know your size for Christmas, Mom.
Yeah. I'm like, isn't it cool? Yeah, I need a place to go for Thanksgiving.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Okay.
That's a good pick, though. Good pick. Definitely deserves to be on the list.
Thank you. You're up next, buddy.
Ooh, I'm gonna stir up a little controversy here. Okay, well, here's the thing, right? The movie that I am going with is what I consider to be the part 3 of the series, but some people do not consider it to be the part 3 of the series. And I'm going to go with Star Wars Revenge of the Sith, which is episode 3, but technically the 6th movie to come out. So you can decide where you want to put it in the timeline. But it is episode 3, so I'm calling it the 3rd movie. But the reason why I love this, dude, like, okay, I get it. Hayden Christensen, little whiny. I'm not gonna fight you on that. Little whiny. I get it. I understand the argument behind it. But like, dude, I grew up watching those original movies. So for me, being in the theater in that third movie, when you finally see the Vader mask come down, the first time you see it come down, click, and you hear the first whoosh, like, dude, I got chills watching that movie. I think it's a far better third movie than people get it credit for.
I think it's a fair point.
Yeah, I think looking at it, if you're looking at it from that perspective, comparing it to episode 1 to episode 3, I think I put episode 3 on the top of that list, hands down.
Well, I guess I didn't stir up any controversy at all.
No, I think it's a great pick.
No, I did have Star Wars on my list, but I had Return of the Jedi on there instead of A New Hope.
It clearly needs to be on the list, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know. I know people like to give the first movies a little bit of a hard time. I don't know, episodes 1 through 3, but I don't know, dude. Like, I still think this might start some controversy. I still think episodes 1 through 3 are better than a lot of the new Star Wars movies that are coming out now.
I agree. I mean,
I agree with that.
Do you guys agree with that?
Yeah.
The Rise of Skywalker was a huge letdown.
I mean, I fell asleep in Rogue One. Like,
Oh,
in
dude.
the movie
I
theater, fell
like
asleep.
Rogue One.
Did you?
Rogue One.
I'm sorry.
No, I was watching that and I got bored with it too, Dave. Sorry, Jim.
Did you?
Ladies and gentlemen, here's the controversy.
Yeah. It finally arrived. It was delayed reaction. Yeah, I was just watching it and I'm just like, yawn until like the end scene when like Vader shows up and I'm just like, oh, that's really cool.
Like, I honestly wish that's what I did. I wish I just popped in Rogue One and fast forwarded to like the last 10 minutes of the movie. I'm sorry, Jim.
No, honestly, I will say it's a good way to like watch those movies. Like, if you can just like tolerate the entire movie, I think it's really good. And I will say I've been trying to watch Andor, the series, like right before this one too.
Yeah.
I fall asleep in Andor, so I can get where the lullabies are created watching like this, like just human side of this fantastical story of Jedis and Mandalorians and bounty hunters. But I don't know. I think it was like an interesting perspective on like how a defect of that large on the Death Star could have been overlooked, and they kind of play it off as, oh no, like the architecture did that intentionally, so that way the rebels have the chance of winning. I was like, that's okay, that's kind of cool.
I think. I mean, I'm dead, bro. I'm dead. No, I mean, okay. So the hardest thing for me though is just like this transportation of this information is just like, I don't know. You're on like a floating galaxy in the middle of the space, and like you can't just email this information over real quick. You don't got like a little flash drive. You could just be like, here you go. Like, I don't know. That's all I got. But yeah,
I get it. They can light travel, but they can't light travel information.
Right, exactly. That's just it. I don't know. But anyway, the end of the movie is dope. But back to Revenge of the Sith, I do think it deserves to be on the list. Excellent part 3. I think it's good. I know Hayden Christensen can get a little, but you know, if you can deal with it, it's a good movie.
I agree.
There you go.
Jim, what you got?
Let me see. Let me go into the Marvel realm now. I think number 3, Civil War, Captain America.
Okay.
I think that's on my list as the. I think it's for me, especially watching that one in theaters too. Watching Spider-Man join the MCU. I read the Civil War comic in high school, so and it was like, I think a year or two later they started showing trailers for it, and like teasing it in the for the movies, and seeing like the build up from Age of Ultron and like the tension between Iron Man and Captain America was like ramping up, and then seeing it kind of unfold in a different way just because they don't own all the rights of all the characters. But just seeing it on the big screen, seeing a lot of like the comic book panels just come to life, or like when they're fighting and Iron Man's using his gauntlets, Captain America's shielding, and it's just like slow-mos, and I'm just like, the fanboy in me was just like happy to like watch that moment in live screen. And just so many good, cool moments. Spider-Man finally being like young and in high school, and not like 28-year-old Tobey Maguire. Like I'm not the biggest Tobey Maguire fan. Like I grew up like loving the first and second one a little bit. The third one was kind of like where it kind of dips a little bit in quality and storyline.
Bro, when he becomes Venom and does that walk down the street, I was just like, oh, this movie is so dead, dude.
The emo dance.
That movie is so dead.
I was like, are we listening to jazz in a Spider-Man movie?
Yeah. Oh.
but just seeing that like that version of Spider-Man just like catching the Winter Soldier's arm, and it's, oh, you have a metal arm? That is awesome, dude. And I'm just like, oh my god, he's me. Like he's cool, he's a little kid, he's whatever. And now he like Tom Holland is just forever like a kid. He's like, I think he's older than me and he still looks young.
The ageless wonder.
Right.
Yeah. I always thought it'd be cool if like the introduction, when he was, in that introduction, if he swung through like a Sony like studios billboard, just to like metaphorically like break the chains, to be like, I'm out of this crap hole.
That'd be nice. That'd be cool.
Not throwing shade on Sony. Love Sony. Love you, Sony.
We love Sony.
We love Sony. If you want to sponsor or sub, whatever.
Yeah. Sony, sponsor me. Sponsor all of us.
Send us tickets to Craven.
Yes. Are you guys going to go see Craven?
I think I'll make more of an effort to go see Craven than I am making an effort to go watch Venom.
I'm gonna wait till stream.
But Sony, sponsor us, please.
Yes.
I mean, it's Sony. If you sponsor us, I'll go see the movie. I'm just saying, like, if you're not going to sponsor us, I'm probably gonna hang on to my $18.
If you're not going to sponsor us, we're busy that weekend. But if you re-release it, we'll totally make that one.
100%.
That's a great pick. I think it definitely deserves to be on the list. That's a good pick.
Yeah, I can get behind that. I guess it's my turn, right? Let's see. I'm going to switch things up a little bit. We're going to go with a comedy that I think this is going to be controversial, but they were sitting on my shelf, and when I looked at it, I'm like, I think this is a little underrated, so I'm going to go with American Reunion.
Whoa.
That's crazy, dude. Wedding is on my list.
Is it really?
Yeah, it is. American Wedding is on my list.
Great minds think alike.
Dude, let's go. Okay. All right, let's hear it. Reunion. Why?
Well, and then this is kind of getting into like what we were talking about before with, you wouldn't get this without the original, but it just felt, I don't know, maybe more relatable, and you had the entire cast back, or at least most of them from what I remember. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I remember liking that movie a lot more and watching it a few more times than I did American Pie. Mm-hmm. It's definitely not as iconic. There's no pie fornication, but and I think that's why we remember that one mainly, is because that and Nadia. But
who can forget Nadia?
Yeah, we can't forget Nadia. But it felt more relatable to me, and especially like the jet ski scene, when they're just like, what is he doing? And he's like, I just thought that was very funny. And that movie, maybe because I was a little bit older again when I saw it, but still I think it kind of resonates better. It's like they It was like a fine wine. They matured with age.
I honestly,
comedy.
yeah, dude. Honestly, I think this is exactly why I have Wedding on my list. Like, if you are within a certain age group, and I'm gonna just go ahead and pinhole myself right to this age group right now, I feel like you kind of maybe like grew up like the characters in this movie kind of grew up like as you grew up. You know what I mean? Like when American Pie came out, like I was in high school. When the second one came out, like I was in college. Like when Wedding came out, like I was kind of like getting into like more adulthood. You know what I mean? Like like it wasn't perfect, obviously, but like you were kind of in that stage of life, or either entering or exiting the same stage of life that they were in. So I just feel like if you're within a certain age group, these movies just kind of resonated with you all along the way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And for me, by the time they got to Wedding, it kind of became less of like a not another teen movie and more of like kind of still funny, but more like mature funny. Like the jokes hit different. Like the things that they were talking about kind of hit different. It was less like you said about like fornicating with a pie, and more of just like, okay, this is a real life situation that like people in this age group have dealt with, and they found a way to make it funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like the kids have grown up.
We're so old. Damn. But yeah, good one. This definitely deserves to be on the list. I had Wedding on my list. I think it definitely deserves to be on the list. But both of them deserve to be on the list.
Okay, cool. I can get behind that. I was looking at Wedding and Reunion, and I'm like, I gave it, I was like tossing it up, and I'm like, it's got to be Reunion just because of everybody being in it. It always felt weird to me with American Wedding. Like they were missing. I think Oz was the one that wasn't in it, right?
Yeah.
He was the one that was missing from it. I'm just like, why is he not there? So, but yeah, both good choices. So
Wedding, I will say, you do get the most screen time of Stifler, which I'm a fan of.
that's true.
And Stifler's mom.
And Stifler's mom. Jim's figured me out. He's figured me out already. We've been talking for 27 minutes.
Oh, that's too funny. Okay, so I think who's next? Dave? Well,
yeah, I think I'm up. Okay. Dude, I hate to do it, but I'm gonna go back to the horror well. I'm gonna go with Halloween 4, man.
Halloween 4.
Halloween 4. Okay, and I need you guys to hear me out on this one, right?
Okay.
Halloween 4 is a better movie than people give it credit for. I know people in the entire scope of the franchise don't really love 4, but the reason that I love 4 is just because it was the callback to Michael Myers. So if you guys remember how that series kind of panned out, obviously Halloween, the original movie, Jamie Lee Curtis, Michael Myers, great, iconic film, love it. Can't say enough about it. 2, Michael Myers, Jamie Lee Curtis, great. Then for 3, for some reason, they just were like, hey guys, you know the 2 main iconic characters in this movie franchise? What if we just scrapped them all together and made a movie about some kids breaking into a Halloween mask factory that had nothing to do with Michael Myers? Should we try that? And they did that, and then that movie was a total flop. Well, 4, they figured out that was a terrible idea and brought my man back. So that's why I'm putting it on the list. The return of Michael Myers to the Halloween franchise.
Okay. I can get behind that.
Yeah.
It's definitely a better movie than 3.
Why did they do that? I don't know why they did that.
It's a John Carpenter thing.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard the story? You never heard the story?
Never heard the story of why they did this.
Okay. He never wanted to make Halloween 2.
Really?
He just wanted Halloween to be a standalone thing. That's why it took him so long to make a sequel. And they kept bugging him. And then finally he made Halloween 2. He hated the process of making Halloween 2, of writing it. He said he wrote it with a 6-pack.
Okay.
And just he also says he was never a fan of the Michael Myers, Laurie Strode sibling twist. He didn't like that. He was just not happy. And so after it was done, he just decided he wanted Halloween to be an anthology franchise. So the plan was, if the third one had been successful, every other one would have been different.
That's a horrible idea, John. I'm sorry, bro. I'll buy you as many 6-packs as you want, man. You gotta keep writing Michael stories.
Yeah. So that's why it turned out the way it does, and the way that one is about masks.
Halloween X, Michael goes to space.
Yeah, we are waiting for Halloween X. Michael goes to space. Just patiently waiting. Rob Zombie, if you want to take the mantle here, it looks like John's busy.
Yes. Apparently, there's a Halloween TV series coming. So
I don't know if that's legit. Is that legit?
It's legit.
Is it? Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
I just don't know. They haven't really said like much about it. If it's going to be like a reboot, or
because I was excited for another TV show horror franchise that was supposed to happen, and that turned out not to be legit.
What's that?
Friday the 13th.
Well, that was legit. It just got canceled.
Oh no, really?
Yeah.
Why does everything I love get canceled?
I know. Right here too. Chucky. I loved Chucky, and Chucky got canceled.
Oh yeah, the TV series.
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah. It was fantastic, and they let it go. And for no good reason. It had strong ratings and it was popular. People liked it. They just canceled it. Just, reasons, I guess.
This is so sad. I feel bad, dude.
Me too.
Let's have a moment of silence for the Chucky TV show.
Okay, and we're done.
It's gonna be okay, dude. It'll be okay.
Okay. Play some Sarah McLachlan in that interlude.
In the hearts of
I got my phone. I got it right here. Hold on. It's right here. Just
okay.
All right. Let's see.
I think you're up,
Jim, I think you're up.
I got Jurassic World on my list.
Let's go.
I almost put that on my list.
You see? I got it for you right here. But Jurassic World, I grew up watching the first three over and over again. I think I still had the first two on VHS. Super iconic. It didn't take me until I went back as an adult to realize there was maybe less than 20 minutes of screen time of dinosaurs in the first movie.
Facts.
And you don't even think about that when you think of Jurassic Park at first.
Right. And it's there's so much build up, there's so much explanation of how they recreated the dinosaurs and all that. And then the second one where they just bring the dinosaurs to San Diego, which I thought it was cool because I would go visit all the time, and I was just I would ask my relatives that living there. I was oh, did you guys see the dinosaurs? They're just no.
No, we don't care about that.
No, it's fake. Go read a book. But seeing Jurassic World, I never got to see those in the theater. Obviously, I was so young. But seeing Jurassic World in the theater just brought me back to I was a little kid. I was oh my god, dinosaurs are cool again.
It's that nostalgia moment for sure.
Yeah, it's the music hits you, the dinosaur, the T-Rex roar, the velociraptors being the enemy in the first one, and not so much in the second one, but a little bit in the third one too. But now they're an ally. Now they can be controlled, and Chris Pratt is there, and he's fresh off of Guardians of the Galaxy, and now he's, instead of being cool space pirate guy, now he's cool dinosaur wrangler guy. And yeah, it was cool. And then obviously that the guy holding 2 margaritas running away from pterodactyls is kind of cool too.
That brings up an interesting question. What's cooler, being a super cool space pirate or having a gang of velociraptors at your side?
That's a good question.
It's a tough question, right?
Velociraptors.
I'm leaning Velociraptor too.
I'm a cool space pirate. Okay, I have velociraptors in my backyard.
Did you ever do anything cool in space? I had to dance off with an alien one time and
Save the world, save the universe.
Yeah.
Yeah, bro. You should only talk about the Velociraptors.
For sure.
Funny
Favorite
thing.
dinosaur.
Oh, this one's tough, man. You know what? Okay, do you know like a little bit about like the difference between the dinosaurs, like how they actually were and how they were depicted in Jurassic Park?
Yeah.
Okay, so when Jurassic Park came out, my favorite dinosaur was obviously the Velociraptor, but like then I learned that a Velociraptor doesn't really look like that. Like a Velociraptor is technically like no bigger than like kind of a large chicken.
Yeah, like a turkey almost.
Yeah, it's almost like a turkey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You like in the movie, they're like 6 feet, kind of big, big, Yeah, but then you look
the
it up
audio
and
people, he made very big gestures.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So, and then you find out that this thing is really just like kind of like a big chicken, and you're like, I might be switching up my faves. You know?
Okay. T-Rex for me.
Are you going T-Rex?
I'm going T-Rex.
I wanted to come up with a better one. Maybe. No, it's clearly a T-Rex.
I think it's T-Rex for me.
We're so basic.
I know. I was going to say I picked the basic bitch of the dinosaur world.
and I've seen here in town they brought I think it was like not even kidding. Right before I left to Atlanta, I went to they had an exhibit here at the Science Center, and it was not the biggest, but the second. They made a point to emphasize this. It wasn't the biggest T-Rex skeleton. It was the second T-Rex, the second biggest T-Rex skeleton in the world.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna say it's still pretty big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would be eaten for sure.
You know the funny thing about mentioning the 20 minutes of screen time in the original Jurassic Park 2, if you go back and watch Jurassic Park, like I don't know, but for me, like I feel like they did such a good job on the dinosaurs specifically for the time. Like if you go back and watch the original Jurassic Park today, it still kind of holds up. Like the dinosaurs still look great. And like
100%.
To see that back in that day, you're just like, dinosaurs are real. Did they hire real dinosaurs for this? Because this is absolutely insane that they look this good.
Yeah, I mean, I would even argue sometimes they look better than some of the recent movies too.
Right.
Yeah, I can see that too.
It's just crazy.
It's so funny because when I finally got like my living room set up and I got the surround sound, 100%. The first scene I tested the sound in was the Jeep scene in the rain in the first Jurassic Park movie.
Just turn off the light.
Yeah, it's like I wanted to make sure the bass can get the sound and everything, and then the dinosaur roars all around, and it looks great. It sounds great. Like. It's almost disappointing that they can't like live up to the technology that they had like almost 20 years ago.
I mean, yeah, it's crazy to even question that the first movie would look better or equal to what's out now, but we are indeed having that conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Very crazy, but a very solid choice with Jurassic World. It was a lot of fun. I mean, I don't know if you guys got to see it in IMAX at all.
No.
It was very cool. I saw it in IMAX 3D, and it was almost like you were there. Right. All the time when I go to see IMAX movies, usually I'm looking up at the screen, and they always start off with that, Discovery Channel stuff with like, this is a hippo in Africa, and you're just like, oh, okay, that looks really cool. And then when it's like the movie you're trying to watch, and it's just like, okay, it doesn't look as good as like the trailers for the Discovery Channel, you know. Jurassic World was different. Like when you're that scene with the raptors and the bike when they're going through the jungle, like that was like really intense and really cool. And I'm just like, wow, this is totally worth the price of admission.
Yeah, I think I actually have that in 3D back when like having a 3D TV was a thing.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
The 3D TVs just died. I don't know what happened to 3D TVs. It's like everybody was on them, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, we don't care about 3D anymore.
Yeah, same thing with the curved ones too. You know, like they thought that was like, oh, it just makes it much better, and everybody's like, it's so much better than like 3D back in the day when you had to wear those red and blue glasses.
Yeah,
you just watch these glasses, you know, these glasses, and it's like really cool, and it didn't, and then everybody's like, yeah, I don't care.
Yeah. Rip all of the money we spent on 3D TVs.
Yeah, and the 3D discs too.
Yeah, 3D discs. I have all these 3D discs.
Like it all had to work together. You had to get 3D discs, 3D DVD player, 3D TV. Otherwise, none of it would have worked.
Yeah.
No.
Set up your TV at the optimal distance and angle. You had to sit in a certain spot on the couch. Like we put a lot of effort into this 3D thing, guys, and then you just took it away.
Yeah. People at Best Buy telling you like, well, how much distance do you have in your living room between walls? Did you figure out perfect center? When I was looking at it, the guy's like, oh, I don't think a 3D TV would be right for you. I'm like, go to hell. I wanted to spend my money.
So you have glasses right now. You can't put two glasses. It doesn't make any sense.
No, actually, these are just Blu-ray, blue light lenses. Because I've been staring at my TV or my monitor here all day, so I'm trying to save my eyesight. So
you kept that 3D TV too long, man.
Yeah, you know. Okay. Once again, great pick, Jim. So
great pick.
Thank you.
You're very cool. All right, I'm gonna go with. Might be a little controversial. I've heard this movie got a little bit of hate recently, so I don't know how you guys feel about it, but I'm gonna pick Bad Boys for Life. I think that's better than the original, and I love them all.
Whoa.
Hold on. We gotta cool you down because there's a hot take. I mean, you got to give explanation there. You can't just drop that bomb and say nothing.
I do. I think it's better than the original. Was
it Julie? You just don't like Julie?
No, I like Julie. I thought Julie looks like a girl I used to know. So But no, and it's not that Bad Boys is a bad movie. I love the whole series, and I still rewatch it. But I think, 2, 3, and 4 kind of you can watch them back to back, and they still kind of feel the same. 1 feels kind of dated.
Yeah.
And not that makes it a bad movie, but I mean, it's just I don't think 1 and then the rest of them. They just look and feel a little bit different, in my opinion.
Okay.
I can see that.
I can agree with that at least.
Yeah.
Didn't like 3?
I liked them all, dude. Like I know there's some controversy around Will Smith ever since he did that thing at that place, but I don't know, dude. I like him and Martin Lawrence are just like kind of comedic gold together. I don't know what it is. I just think like they mesh so well, and it's like they almost have like I don't know. There's usually like a yin and a yang, like an Ozzy and a Harriet. Like they're almost kind of the same person, but for whatever reason, they just play off each other so well. Like it's just so entertaining to watch them interact, and they're so funny together. It just feels natural. It feels like they're being just effortlessly cool and funny. So I really enjoy all the movies.
I do too. I do
Yeah.
too. But I mean, I'm just looking at them like, out of all of them, like Bad Boys 1 feels the most different to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it definitely feels the most different for sure.
Jim.
Well,
what do you think? I'm curious.
I'm a really big fan of like I call it like the original two. Like for the longest time, those were the only two in the series.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like both like it's crazy. Like both were Michael Bay made, and the first one doesn't feel like a Michael Bay film, really. Like not the style that he's kind of like known for now. The second one feels like you can almost throw a transformer in there, and it would like it would like still like
it would still kind of work.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because like all the like especially like the highway scene, when like all the cars are just flying all over the place, and like the Jamaicans and whatever. Like I'm a huge like fan of those. And then like the third one came out, and I was watching some of it, and it just had like I could just tell it didn't have that like the practical element to it as much. There was a lot of CGI work, and that's what I kind of liked about like the originals, where like they didn't rely heavily on CGI. They still had some, but and especially like the shootout in Cuba was like so cool. It was like so over the top. It was so Michael Bay, but it was just like I don't know. It was just like something cool and different, and they were going to go save Martin Lawrence's sister, and Will Smith was dating her, and so it was like they hated each other through the movie, and then they're like, oh, we gotta go save my sister, and I know you like her, but and it was I don't know. I like the first two, and but they're not like the third and the fourth one especially. They kind of went back to like practicality and the camera work and all that, and then it became kind of like, all right, let's go back to what we were kind of known for. And it reminded me of when they went into the house scene, and like the camera work is like going around in the shootout. It was like really cool and really interesting what they were like going back to.
Okay.
I agree. Yeah, I agree. I love the camera work in that house scene when you're like looking through the bullet holes and stuff like that. Such cool stuff like that. Like that was early enough where that stuff was kind of like, I don't want to say like mainstream, but it was still kind of new to have stuff happen like that in the movie with that specific type of like rotating, zooming in, going through things that you shouldn't go through kind of camera work. Like that stuff was really cool.
Yeah, I agree. And for the record, I do like Bad Boys 2 more than 3. I'm just gonna say, but I'm just saying I like 3 more than the original.
He doesn't want the controversy.
It's on.
You don't want the smoke. You don't want the smoke. No, I mean, any Bad Boys sequel should be on this list somewhere. Yeah. I think it's a great franchise.
Oh yeah,
bottom to top. I think it's a great franchise.
For sure. And it's probably like the distance in between 2 and 3, like what kind of makes you think like, okay, well 3 was good because it's been however many years in between, sequels. So
yeah,
I thought it was pretty cool. So
deserves to be on the list, dude. It's a good choice.
Thank you.
You are very welcome.
Sure. Okay.
You're not canceled yet.
I'm thankful. All right, Dave.
All right. Next up on my list, let's go ahead and make some people mad. We already made some people mad. Let's just keep making them mad. I'm gonna go with Harry Potter 3, Prisoner of Azkaban.
Yeah, that was on my list. 100%.
Was it on your list too?
That was on
Let's
my list.
go. Let's go. Okay. Here's my thing, right? Prisoner of Azkaban. This is where you noticed the franchise take a shift, right? This is where they decided we're not going to make these movies just for kids. And they got rid of that campy, oh, let's go to the school. Like they got rid of all of that little kids. Like they were like, we are going to make this movie for everybody. We're going to make these movies for everybody, not just for adults. And that was the movie where I feel like you saw the turning point, where they started getting like more adult themed, like more into the fighting, more into like the actual darker side of the story. So that I got to put it on the list. First two movies are fine. The first two movies are fine, but
do you know? I think honestly, this is like my favorite Harry Potter film for the reason, if you guys know or don't, like what makes this movie different than literally every other Harry Potter movie. What makes this one different?
I'm super curious to find out.
Yeah.
This is one of the only Harry Potter films where Voldemort is not the bad guy.
Oh yeah. Oh, I didn't think about that. But that's a good point.
Like it's not revolved around like, oh, who should not be named. Like the first one is like the professor with like the little second head behind him, and then the second one was Chamber of Secrets, where they go and he has to stab the book to kill. Yeah, and then this one it was just like, this guy escaped the prison, whatever, and it's like, no, it's just your godfather. Like that's not the guy you should have been worried about. The guy you should have been worried about was this other guy who, Ron's rat from the train in the first movie was the bad guy. And it's just like, oh my god, they tied it all together in the third one.
So, my mind is blown.
Mm-hmm.
Continuity.
But yeah, I don't know. I love the movie. Just those are all Those are all great points, and I just love the movie because if you go back and rewatch the series, like I ended up getting that 8 film Blu-ray pack, and I was like, I'm gonna watch every Harry Potter movie, and then I watched the first two, and I'm like, oh no, you're like, this
we
is
missed the train, Ron. We gotta take your mom's car.
Right. If you watch the last 5 movies, that's what I've been used to, is just because they, the first 2 movies came out so long ago that if you go back and watch those first 2 movies, you're just like, oh wow, this is real campy. Like this is real. This like let's get to the Harry Potter that I know. That's like a little bit darker, and yeah. It happens in 3.
Yeah, it went from Disney to HBO real quick.
Right, exactly. Yeah. That's the best way to put it.
No, I agree with that 100%.
Good choice, man.
Thanks, dude.
All right, I'm gonna put another Will Smith movie on the list with Men in Black 3.
Let's go.
Okay. I like it just because it goes past the original, the whole time travel aspect. I love a really good time travel movie, and then it kind of that's where like the series should have ended. I didn't like the Men in Black International, or like they kind of just spun off with Chris Hemsworth just from his popularity of being Thor and all that from Marvel. I think this series was like Tommy Lee Jones, and then how Josh Brolin came in as a younger Tommy Lee Jones and absolutely nailed the role. On top of that, too, it's a great movie.
Definitely a great movie. It definitely deserves to be on the list.
I liked it. I agree. Yeah, that was.
There we go.
Yeah, I agree with that. I kind of wish they kind of continued with Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones instead of Chris Hemsworth. Chris Hemsworth kind of seems to me, this might be a controversial point, but he almost seems to be like kind of like a franchise killer in some instances.
I mean,
yes and no.
Yeah.
Besides Thor.
See, that's the thing, right? It's like, I don't know. I'm going to make people mad. I don't know if he's a strong enough character to move on from Thor. You know what I mean?
I agree.
Like, Robert Downey Jr. is a strong enough actor to move on from Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we've seen, Jason Momoa was a strong enough actor to move on from Aquaman. Like, Michael Keaton was a strong enough actor to move on from Batman. I don't know if Hemsworth is strong enough to move on from Thor, or if people will just always see him as Thor. And I know people love Tom Holland, but I kind of see this with Tom Holland. Like, I don't know if Tom Holland is going to be able to move on from being Spider-Man.
I agree.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's just, you look at besides the Marvel stuff, what has Hemsworth been in that has been like really super popular? Or
Actually, I enjoy him in Extraction. Like they feel like almost like Chris Hemsworth, John Wick, but like turned up just a little bit more. It was like him as like military man, John Wick. I don't know if you ever saw those.
I did. I personally I didn't like Extraction, so but okay, but it did get a sequel. So obviously somebody turned into it. So
they made it for me.
Well, since you're good with Netflix, can you talk them into renewing Chucky? Since they're making Extraction for you.
I got you. Well,
okay,
I'll see what I can do.
Okay.
If they do it, this is your Christmas. Okay.
All right. Well, thank you.
They had to pull the Chucky budget for the Tyson Jake Paul fight.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. That's what it is, actually.
Yeah.
We need all of our resources. We need everything. We need all the resources we have.
Yeah. This could go either really good or really bad.
But like I'm thinking about it like Mad Max Furiosa, like that's not like it's a prequel to the Mad Max Fury Road, which is a sequel to the other ones. But him as a character in it just kind of felt a little over the top-ish. I don't know. And I don't know how you guys felt about it.
I agree with you. It felt over the top.
I didn't see it, but
I get it. Mad Max is supposed to be over the top. You know what I mean? But like, it was too over the top.
Yeah, I felt like he was just trying to be almost like what if Thor was evil? Like he was still trying to like he wasn't like fully bad and he wasn't fully good. Like he was kind of like muddy in the water a little bit, and then he's just like, oh no, you're definitively bad because you did something earlier. And I don't know, it was a little disappointing as a prequel to such a great film, Mad Max.
Not strong enough to lose the Thor.
No, yeah.
Nah.
I remember people talking about that too when it came on there. Like, Chris Hemsworth is unrecognizable in his new role in the Mad Max prequel. And I'm just like, I knew who it was when I saw the trailer. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's Hemsworth with a big nose. Like,
they put a big nose on a handsome guy. You're still gonna see him.
Yeah.
Getting flashes of Dennis Hopper from Waterworld.
Oh.
That's a good pick. Deserves to be on the list for sure.
Yeah. That was Jim's, right? So it's mine?
Yeah, I think it's you.
Okay.
Went from Men in Black to hating on Chris Hemsworth.
Yeah. Maybe that should be the name of this. I'm going to take it back to the horror genre. I'm going to go with Wes Craven's New Nightmare.
Oh, it's pretty cool. Pretty good.
Yep. There you go.
I think it's my favorite out of the sequels. Maybe 4, but this one, I definitely have a special place in my heart for this one. For those that don't know, it had pretty much the entire cast of the original Nightmare on Elm Street. I don't think Johnny Depp was in it, but it's set in a time with the actors using their real names, and in the story, Freddy Krueger becomes real.
Mm-hmm.
Real. I'm doing air quotes. And he's a much more sinister version of Freddy. He's not really cracking jokes, although that "Have you ever skinned a cat" line is kind of, I would consider that kind of a funny, dark joke. But, and you get a different design for Freddy, a different glove. It's not even really a glove. It's just his hand with 5 blades coming out instead of 4. And I thought for what they did, considering it was only 10 years after Nightmare, it was really good. And it really had some cool moments.
Mm-hmm.
What say you?
I agree.
Okay. Yeah, I love the I love the pick. I think it's an interesting idea. I don't really know if it would I think it's an idea that's been done before to kind of make the characters be themselves and make the story kind of come to life, but I don't think it's ever done quite as well as it was done there. I think it was a really, really interesting kind of take on the movie, and it definitely worked out for him. And so much so, like, I totally agree with you. I actually have Nightmare 3 on my list.
Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, this entire series is full of like movies past 1 and 2 that are worth the watch. I think this series has probably the most out of any that I could think of.
I agree. You know, like a lot of people's favorite Nightmare on Elm Street is 3. Mine is, you know, if I'm most of the time if I'm going to watch it, it's 4. Wes Craven's New Nightmare is a different one for me, but you know, like it's almost like you got to be in the right mood for me at least. Like it's not something I'm just gonna rewatch because it's like 2 versions of Freddy, you know. So, but yeah, there's a lot of great moments, a lot of great entries in the series. It's aside from the original.
Yeah, I mean,
I think especially for that one, where I remember watching like the original as a kid and getting freaked out. Watching that one, and I think it's like one of the first scenes where it starts to like delve into like, oh no, this is going to start becoming like real-ish. It's like when she falls asleep for the first time in the little glove. Like I haven't watched it like regularly, but that scene always sticks to me with like the little glove like walks the floor on like over to someone and it just slashes them. I remember being traumatized as a kid. Just thinking like, oh my God, he doesn't even have to be in the glove. The glove was just going to do it now. Like that was for me, I think, I don't know why, but that was scarier than the guy coming after me. Because now it's like the inanimate object now has the capability to kill you too.
It's it from Addams Family, just murderous. Yeah, I love the movie. I mean, I think it did some really kind of groundbreaking things when it came to storyline and plotline and stuff like that. And it was, I don't know, it was kind of it was kind of unsettling to see the story come to life, right? Because it's kind of what you're always thinking about when you're watching, you know, I don't know if I'm speaking for everybody, but when you're watching a movie, like the thought of it becoming real is kind of, for me, the scariest part of the movie. Because you know you're watching a movie, like you might get jump scared, but like you know you're watching a movie. But if you really start dwelling on it and like thinking like, oh, like what if this was actually like a thing that could happen? You know, like that's the scary part to me. And it's like they're living that out in that movie, so it's like it almost brought this like next level of kind of fear to it.
I think that's a good example of the franchise doing it well. Not to talk trash about a franchise you like, Chris, but Seed of Chucky, I think they did that in that movie too, where they like the actors are real, like Jennifer Tilly is an actress and whatever. It wasn't my favorite out of the series.
I don't think it's anybody's favorite.
Yeah. And then it was just like you know, Bride of Chucky was like one thing, and then this was just like what's going on? Like I don't know. Like it didn't know whether to be like a horror movie, like a comedy. Like the Nightmare on Elm Street movies do it so well just because Freddy is like that kind of a character where he can have the dark comedy be part of his horror. Like you know, I'm gonna slash you, bitch, and whatever, and it's just like it's funny, but it's not.
Yeah, it definitely. I don't know. Yeah, I know Chris likes these movies. Seed of Chucky is not anybody's favorite movie. I agree with you. Yeah, no.
There's some controversy there.
yeah, no, it's not anybody's favorite. I've warmed up to it a little bit more in the since originally seeing it. So for me, when I first got my license, That was the first thing I did. I got my car, I got my license, and I went to go see Seed of Chucky in theaters.
Oh no!
And at the time, I was, just seeing Chucky on, on the big screen. That was the first time I got to see him on the big screen, and it was fun. There's clips and stuff I watch more now, like with him and Tiffany arguing over the gender of their son, that I find very funny and like making the plans for him or whatever. But yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. Like Seed of Chucky is not. It's the low point on the franchise.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, New Nightmare definitely deserves to be on the list. And shout out Nightmare 3. I know Dream War is a lot of people's favorite movie, and I think for good reason. Kind of like a little bit with the Halloween series, where 2 kind of tried to stray off the beaten path of what Freddy really was. Like, do you remember what happened in 2?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So, Jim, have you ever seen Nightmare 2?
Yeah.
Okay, so if you guys remember 2, where like they had the dude was the main character, and it was almost like Freddy didn't really attack in your dreams. He was more like this entity that would like possess a dude every once in a while and like make him kill people. And you're just like, no, this isn't it. Like this is not it. So for 3 to like be like, we're sorry, that was a terrible idea. We're going back to the dream thing and like leaning into it super heavy. That's why I put 3 on my list, because that was like really like the movie that cemented like, yeah, this dream thing is going to be a thing from now until forever. So like that's why I put 3 on my list.
Yeah, 2 like almost like killed it for him.
Yeah, and they they tried to replace Robert Englund for 2.
They actually did. There's a scene of somebody else in the movie. Yeah,
the shower scene, the coach shower room kill. That's not Robert Englund as Freddy. It's crazy. Yeah, so weird, man. Could you imagine them trying that movie with anybody but Robert Englund?
It just, well, we have 2010 Nightmare on Elm Street to prove that.
That made it on my list of worst remakes of all time.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, Nightmare 2 was definitely some weird stuff, like especially with the gym teacher and his S&M stuff and
very weird. Very weird movie. So yeah. But yeah, I think both of them deserve to be on the list, 3 and New Nightmare. So
yes, correct. Yes.
I don't know where we're at now. I think it's Jim's turn. I think that probably counts as my turn, right?
Do you want it to?
It probably counts as my turn. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't want to hog the mic here.
I'm gonna go back into one of my favorite franchises, Mission Impossible.
Let's go
with Mission Impossible Fallout, just for Henry Cavill, just for that shotgun of the arm scene.
Okay.
But yeah, I think they definitely improved from the first one, especially from the second one. I wasn't a fan of what was it, John Woo's version of the Mission Impossible.
Yeah.
A bit over the top. It almost felt like he made it thinking like Jackie Chan wasn't available for this movie, so I'm just gonna put Tom Cruise in it. And I feel like Jackie Chan would have made it a little bit better. But I don't know. It felt like just like too Hong Kong kind of story action versus where the franchise is now and starting to like build from there, where they kind of went, instead of like, let's make everything look crazy. It's like, well, Tom Cruise just wants to do insane stunts and kill himself. Why don't we just make a plot around those things and go from there?
I agree.
Did you ever hear that story about Tom Cruise where I forget what show he was on, but he was on some show and he was like talking about doing a stunt for Mission Impossible, and he was like, I'm gonna run off the side of this building and then jump onto this thing, and then he was like, and my stunt coordinator was just telling me, no, you can't do it, like it's not safe, it's not set up right, blah blah blah. And then he just stops and he's like, so then I got a new stunt coordinator, and you're like, you're crazy, dude. You're crazy. The dude's just like telling him, you can't do it, you're gonna die. You can't do it, you're gonna die. And then he's like, I got a new stunt coordinator. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, so the new stunt coordinator figured it out.
And then he said yes. And then during that stunt, I broke my ankle.
That's when I ran smack dead into a wall. But yeah, no, I mean that's a good choice, and I agree with you. Like Mission Impossible and Mission Impossible 2, I watched them for the first time last year, all of them.
Mm-hmm.
They're completely different in tone and feel than 3 and beyond.
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like all the fighting skills and everything he had in part 2, he mysteriously lost for the rest of them. It seemed.
Exactly. Like, one, I'm never gonna have beautiful hair like that ever again and have it flip in every scene in slow motion.
Yeah.
And two, I'm not gonna go like double gunning like Max Payne PS2 and just like shooting all over the place on a motorcycle. Like that was like completely out the window.
Yeah. And just climbing up mountains like without any equipment just for fun. On vacation. That's what I do on vacation is climb up mountains.
Just bear palm rock climb in the middle of the Sahara.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, the rest of them, when I was watching, I'm like, this, why doesn't he do that jump spinny kick he did in part 2? Like, why is he struggling against Philip Seymour Hoffman? But
right? Do you know who directed that third one?
No.
J.J. Abrams.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, now it all makes sense.
It like revitalized the whole franchise. They're just like, oh, this could be like good for money and for story and for everything.
Yeah.
And that was the one with Philip Seymour Hoffman too. So he was a great character. He's a great actor. So
yeah, he was good. But yeah, definitely worthy to be on the list, dude.
I think a great pick. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm out.
Yeah.
No, Chris. No, Chris is up. I'm losing order of the list. I'm losing order of the list.
He's like, I take it back. Freddy 3 was not my pick. Hold on. Let me add to the list.
No, it's not. It's not mine.
Dang, you guys are picking way better stuff than Freddy 3. Dang.
I had a hard time choosing between 3 and 4, but I'm going to go with John Wick Chapter 4.
Let's go.
Yeah, I agree.
And what sold me was the incendiary ammo, the fire bullets,
yes.
and that bird's eye shot of just like him going around. I remember seeing that in theaters, and I'm like watching. I'm like, oh, okay. And then like, oh shit! That's
it was
awesome.
just like a long one take too. That's what I liked about it. It was like the angle of the camera, the special effects, and it was just like one long take. And it felt like people were comparing it to like some Miami shooter game or whatever. I was like, no, that's like the original Call of Duty Zombies. Instead of going into Kino, you do like the little arcade, and that's what it reminded me of.
Okay. But
you know who the king of the long take is? I don't think this show gets enough credit. Do you guys remember the original Daredevil series on Netflix?
Yes.
Yeah.
Dude, do you remember the fight scenes in there? They did such a fantastic job with those super long takes. And the thing that I loved about it so much was that they zoomed the camera back. Like, you know how in a lot of fight scenes, you get a lot of like zoomed up stuff where it's just like, arms blocking and stuff like that. Like it's super close, so you can't really see the action. And it kind of gives them like a way to really hide any flaws in like the choreography and stuff like that.
Yeah,
like
stunt doubles.
In the stunt doubles, yeah.
Yeah.
The Daredevil just like was like, we are gonna pull it all the way back. You're gonna see every single person in the frame, and we're gonna shoot this thing and let it run for 4 minutes straight. And you're just like, I cannot believe they nailed this entire like when he's going down that corridor in the first in season 1, and like just like there's like 40 dudes in that corridor and it's just all one take. Like it was so insane. It's such a great take.
Well, it's that one, and it's funny you mentioned him because I was actually Daredevil. Like my girlfriend and I were Daredevil and Electro for Halloween.
Oh,
and
really?
I have it as my wallpaper. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I saw the
pics. So, and we did it in I told we were taking a picture. I was like, no, we got to do it in a little corridor. People will know why. But yeah, those long shots. There was, iconic. It's that. I think I go back to the stairwell in season 2 when he's dragging Punisher.
Yeah.
That one kind of gets a little close in some parts. Or the prison scene in season 3 where he's escaping the prison after Kingpin kind of trapped him in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, those long takes are amazing.
Insane. I'm sorry, I totally pulled this off topic. Back to John Wick.
No, it's fine. That's what's great about this. I love the conversation.
I just had, when you're talking long takes, you got to mention Daredevil. You just got to. But yeah, John Wick is it.
I think John Wick 4, I prefer John Wick 4 over 3, for sure.
Do you? Okay. Yeah.
I think by the end, John Wick 3 felt like a longer movie. I think they went a little over the top on the swordplay for me. And it was just the stakes weren't there because even the assassins that were after him, they're oh no, we're huge fans, and he would drop a knife and they're oh no, that's okay, here's another chance, come at us again. And it's it's just this is just fun now for them. It's not even serious anymore.
Yeah.
Versus I think the second one might be still my favorite. Just for the shotgun scene in the corridors in Paris.
Yeah.
In that one.
Yeah. For sure. I love the whole series. Just picking one or two, it was really hard. Like I said, going by my own rules and standing there at my and I'm 3 or 4, and I'm fire bullets. Fire bullets are going to win the day.
Fire bullets always are the deciding factor.
Yeah. But I still rewatch, 1 and 2, and I love them all. Just like we were talking about with Bad Boys. It's I love them all. It's just, 1 or 2 is better than the other, So.
Definitely a good pick.
Thank you. That was also the last one I got on my list. So
that's the last one you got?
Yeah, I'm spent.
All right.
We'll do this is final round then, guys.
Oh no, final round.
Final round.
Well, shoot. All right, let's do it. Let's
do honorable mentions. See what else you had on your list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we could do some honorable mentions. If this is gonna be the last round, I'm gonna go ahead and do it because I think this needs to be done. But I'm gonna go with Batman Forever. Hear me out.
Okay.
Hear me out. This movie does not get a lot of love. And I think if you go back and rewatch it, I think it's not as bad as people think. I actually think it's a good movie. I'm not the hugest fan of Val Kilmer as Batman, okay? Keaton, when you're replacing Michael Keaton, you got to understand that whoever you get in that suit is going to be a downgrade. So I give Kilmer a little bit of a free pass just because he has such big shoes to fill. But he was actually a surprisingly good Bruce Wayne. And I think people kind of forget that when you're talking about playing Batman. You really have to be able to play 2 characters. You have to play Bruce Wayne and you have to play Batman. You know what I mean? And
yes,
I think people forget that. I think Keaton was the best Batman. I think Keaton was the best Bruce Wayne. I think Val Kilmer did a great Bruce Wayne. I think, and I don't know. I think people give him kind of a hard time. I don't think it's really warranted. And the number one thing is Jim Carrey as the Riddler is fantastic. He did such a great job as the Riddler. I really think he did a great job because I know it was kind of over the top and it got a little crazy, but that's who Jim Carrey was. That's what I expected to see when Jim Carrey was the Riddler. And if you look at Two-Face too with Tommy Lee Jones, I know Tommy Lee Jones was over the top as Two-Face, but if you look at the scenes where he was definitely Two-Face and not really those flashes of Harvey Dent, when he was angry like Two-Face, he did a good Two-Face. I actually think when he was the angrier version of the character, he did really well. And I don't know. I think the movie is better than a lot of people kind of give it credit for.
Okay.
Chris is like, you get out right now. Just get out of my house.
Where's this disconnect button? No. No. Actually, you have made a point that I've been making for years. I always used to say that we have never, I said this until we had the Batman, but we've never had a completely terrible Batman on film. And a lot of people will be like, Clooney. And I'll be like, Clooney was bad as Batman, but he had a good spot as Bruce Wayne, as the human side of Bruce Wayne, you know,
Right.
dealing with Alfred getting sick and such. Kilmer, I always said he was a great Bruce Wayne, especially like the public front that Bruce Wayne wants to put on.
Yeah.
You know, and he did a great job at that. You know, and I loved Michael Keaton as Batman. You know, so I actually agree with you for the most part.
Okay, I was a little nervous. Yeah, I'm glad this went okay.
Yeah, I think he, you know, of all the actors, they all bring something a little different to the role and in each spot.
Yeah.
You know, and as a huge, you know, as big of a Bond fan as Jim is, I'm a big Batman fan. And I can always appreciate, for the most part.
We see the beanie, Chris.
Yeah, okay. Just in case you guys missed it. Okay. But yeah, I actually agree with your pick. And for Riddler too, I mean, it was 95. He was like fresh off at Ace Ventura. So
Right. So I mean, when you saw Jim Carrey casted in that spot, I mean, we got the Riddler I think people wanted to see at that time. You know what I mean? Like in the true sense of the Riddler, he might have been a little over the top, because the Riddler, specifically in the comic books, is not that over the top. He's really more like sinister and kind of like creepy, a little bit more like the version that we saw in the Batman. But like, you casted Jim Carrey for a reason. You know what I mean? And at that time, that's the character that people wanted to see.
Right. Also, too, people kind of, you know, when they think Riddler, and especially at that time, they would think of like the Frank Gorshin from Batman 66.
Right.
You know, and he was a little bit more, he wasn't Joker-esque. He wasn't Jim Carrey, but I mean, he was a little bit more out there too. And Frank Gorshin actually like tutored Jim Carrey a little bit.
Did he?
And, yeah. I mean, there's one particular scene where you can like really see it in Batman Forever when I think it's when he introduces himself to Two-Face, and then Two-Face kind of like holds him up against the wall, and you can kind of see like Jim Carrey just kind of, I'm like, that's the day Frank Gorshin was on set. That's so.
And not for nothing, if you don't want to give the whole movie a chance, if you go back and watch some of the Riddler scenes, if you guys don't remember, Jim Carrey did a lot of like there was a lot of like twirling and flipping of the Riddler cane. Jim Carrey actually did all of those things for the movie. He actually spun the cane like that. And if you go back and you want to watch just the outtakes, there's no joke like 40 shots of Jim Carrey just hitting himself with this cane ridiculously hard because he refused to like have a stunt double do the spins and stuff for him. He wanted to do it, but he wasn't great at it. So there's so many scenes of him like spinning it and hitting his own shins and just being like, ah! So yeah, definitely worth the watch. I think it's a better movie than people give it credit for.
Fair enough.
Jim,
There you go. Hold on. Before I give my answer, let me plug in my computer real quick. Give me like 10 seconds.
Okay.
Okay.
Let's see.
He hated my answer so much. He's like, I'm out.
Why did I do this?
He's just instantly out.
Mm-hmm.
But honestly, dude, I don't like Batman and Robin isn't bad either. If you eliminate Schwarzenegger as Freeze, I feel like that's kind of like, I feel like that's the part where people kind of really don't love it. But I don't know, Schwarzenegger again is like Schwarzenegger. Like you hired him to be that character, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
So
Boom. Trash talk is over.
I'm tempted to leave that in.
All right, let's see. Is this we said this is the last round?
Could do last round. Okay, so last round, and then I guess we'll do honorable mentions if you want.
After.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
can do some honorable mentions.
You know what? Okay, so if we're gonna go back, I really want to talk about this one. Oh my god, it's like okay. This I'm gonna get both of them, and I'm gonna see which one gets a better response, and then go from there. Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
That was on my list.
Yes.
That was on my list. That's what I was gonna talk about, but I went Batman Forever.
And War for the Planet of the Apes.
Okay, all right.
So Indiana Jones.
It was
yeah,
good. It was good to A and B test the audience there. That was great.
Yes.
Okay, yeah. No, but I mean Indiana Jones. I mean, like from the first one, the second one. I even like Kingdom of the Crystal Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. That was actually my first Indiana Jones movie I ever saw.
Yep.
And then I was just like, oh, that's Han Solo. Like I knew that was enough that I was like, oh, that's Han Solo. And then I was like, oh, but there's older movies. I'm like, oh, they're probably not as good. But yeah, Last Crusade. I mean, such a great movie. They kind of did the thing where like they show like, oh, how did he get his hat, and how did he get the scar, and how did he get the whip, and how did the character become the character? But they did it in a way where like they did it for like, like 15, 20 minutes in like a little like pre-opener, and it was fine instead of making, a multi-million-dollar movie based off of how did the character become the character. Which I like. And, Sean Connery as his dad, and, James Bond fan. So I was just like, oh my God, that's James Bond, but he's old. And he's like, he wasn't like the spies were like, cool and tough. Like he was like complaining to him and like trying to like dad him in moments. Like, you just killed these people. He's like, they're Nazis, Dad. Come on, let's go.
Yeah.
Or like when they're flying the plane and they shoot the wing, like the tail of the plane. It's like, son, they got us. I'm sorry. It's such like a one of the first examples I can think of like, a father and son adventure. Like, I don't think there's a lot of movies, or at least I'm not thinking of a lot, where they kind of pair it up in that like very interesting way. And yeah, I mean, like the Indiana Jones franchise from first, second, and third, they was just all like really great.
I think it's a great pick, man. I mean, I know people when they think Indiana Jones probably think Temple of Doom with the giant rock falling down and stuff like that. But like Crusade, like you said, that interaction between them.
The first one.
Oh yeah, sorry. But like Crusade, like the interaction with the Sean Connery and like all the iconic things that you see in that movie, like you had like the choose wisely and stuff like that. Like you had so many like
yeah,
you had like so many iconic parts to that movie that like really just kind of like set the tone for the franchise as a whole.
Yeah, for sure. That was probably the one I watched the most. Was Last Crusade.
Was it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I agree. It was perfect for this list.
Great pick.
I chose wisely.
You chose wisely on which one we are going to talk about for sure. All right, honorable mentions.
Yeah, let's do some honorable mentions.
All
right, I've actually only got 2 left on my list, but first one here, I'm going to go with Vegas Vacation. I love the vacation movies, and I think Vegas doesn't get enough love. So I tossed that on the list. And last, we got to go Rocky 3.
I had Rocky.
Did you have Rocky out there too?
I had Rocky on my list.
Yeah, I got Rocky 3 on my list. So like, I know everybody loves the original, and I know everybody loves 4 because it's like the big, Dolph Lundgren and stuff like that. But I don't think 3 gets enough love, man. Like 3 is the movie where Rocky and Creed really like become friends. Like Mick dies in the movie. Like it's the Mr. T fight. It's the movie that gave us Eye of the Tiger. You know what I mean? Like it's just one of those movies that like kind of gets overshadowed, but like definitely deserves some love.
That's not the one with the robot, is it?
No, it's the Mr. T fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I agree. I like Rocky 3. Last year I did a watch of all the Rocky movies for the first time.
Did you?
Yeah. The only one I had seen before that was Rocky Balboa, the 6th one.
Yeah.
For me, that's personally my favorite out of all of them.
3 was?
Get some hate for the 6.
Oh, 6.
Rocky
Okay.
Balboa.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
I just I like the speech. I thought that, you know, it almost was like a, you know, like a Dark Knight Returns. The old guy coming back to, you know, for one more fight. I thought it was a great movie and, you know, very inspirational. They all are. I mean, it just, I don't know. Maybe it's because I saw it first, but yeah, 3's good. It's worthy.
Yeah, great movies. I don't know. I think, you know, 1 obviously deserves some love. 4, you know, it's the Dolph Lundgren, the, you know, Russia versus United States, like that. Everybody loves that movie, but 3 gets a little overshadowed.
Yeah. You don't really hear people talking about it too much. They may more or less talk about like 5.
Yeah.
And I understand why they don't like 5.
Gave his Eye of the Tiger, man.
Yeah, Eye of the Tiger.
It's a great song.
Yeah.
There you go. What other honorable mentions we got?
Jimmy, got any? That's the last ones on my list.
Oh, that's the last. Ay. Okay, let's see. I had Rocky. I had Lethal Weapon, just because when I think I bought them as like a Walmart disc set, where it's like you get all 4 for like, I don't know, it's like $10. I was like, okay, I've never seen them. I've seen like clips and stuff. I think they all get better as they go on. It's like that kind of a franchise too. It's like, oh, the first one was great. Let's see what the second one does. Oh my god, the second one's great. Let's see what the third one. Oh my god, the third one's great. Like I really like those.
So you're picking 3?
Yes, I like 3 over 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
Those movies need Joe Pesci for me.
Okay.
As the series goes on, it's like I didn't realize how much you need Joe Pesci until you go back to the first one and Joe Pesci's not there, and you're like, I miss that little dude.
That's a great choice, though. I mean, personally, 2 was my favorite out of the series, but 3 wasn't bad either.
Mm-hmm.
So, for me, for an honorable mention, and I had completely forgotten about Rocky Balboa, or else that would have been on the list. But we'll go back to a little bit what we were talking about before. Bride of Chucky for me, I thought was a solid entry. It really, kind of hit the curve. It really got down to the funny part of Chucky. Like the other ones had that too, don't get me wrong, but just seeing Chucky paired with Tiffany and him going through the same kind of relationship problems a lot of other guys go through.
It made it very relatable.
Yes.
Did you bring a plastic? Oh no, did you bring a rubber?
Did you bring a rubber?
Tiff,
I'm all rubber.
I'm all rubber.
So
good choice.
Good choice.
Thank you.
I think I mentioned before, and it didn't get that much love, but Planet of the Apes. I like those. Especially, I think the new reboot. Like, I didn't really watch the originals.
Same.
They kind of felt a little too like I didn't really watch like the original Star Treks either, and I kind of almost paired them in the same way, in the same category, where they're like it's vintage sci-fi, but it wasn't like how Star Wars was doing it or did it before.
Yeah.
But these new ones where it made it so it's not necessarily how smart and how they're like kind of talking like humans. It's like, no, these were animals at one point, then they were experiments, and like a virus broke out, and it's like it's not a zombie apocalypse, it's an ape uprising. And then how the story just kind of progressed, and it carried all the way till the third one, where it's like this all the apes wanted were just to just live out their lives in peace and in the wild, and they just can't get a break because humanity just sucks. Yeah.
It's a good pick, yeah.
Yeah, that's the one with Woody Harrelson, right?
Yeah, where he's the bad guy. The second one was I forget the actor, but he started popping up in like movies left and right. He was like in Terminator Genesis. He was in that movie. I gotta look up his name real quick. Let's see.
Yeah, the Planet of the Apes movies. I agree with you. I like the new ones, but I always get lost with the titles. Like, I'm like, is that the first one? Is that the second one? Is it the third? I don't even know anymore.
Let me see. What was his name? Jason Clarke.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know, but yeah. So.
I'm trying to put a face to the name.
Yeah, I'll put a face. All right.
Oh yeah, okay.
Like you see his face and you're like, oh yeah, it's that guy.
Yeah. The quintessential bad guy in like 70 movies.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had that. The Mummy. Not that The Mummy 3 was better than like the original or the second one. But I think honestly it was better than the second one. With like Jet Li with Brendan Fraser.
I don't even know if I saw that one, to be honest.
Really?
Yeah.
It's actually not that bad.
This is news to me, man. Jet Li is in a Mummy movie?
Jet Li? Oh my god, I'm educating today.
Wow. Yeah. I know exactly what I'm doing after this.
Oh, yeah.
So, okay, not to spoil it too much, but it doesn't go into Egypt anymore. They go to China. So the terracotta warriors are now part of like a mummy curse.
Let's go. An undead Jet Li. Say less.
See, I didn't even say he was the mummy. The conclusion was just there. But yeah, I think like the second one, it kind of was just like it had like sequelitis, where like they did a lot of like the first like, oh, it's the first movie, but a little bit different and maybe a little bit better, but maybe not really. Like instead of having the sand wall face, it was like a water wall face. Instead of having like the undead soldiers at the end, it was like the Scorpion King, and it was Dwayne The Rock Johnson as the CGI Scorpion thing, which is actually his first movie. Fun fact.
Yeah.
Dumb and Dumber. Oh, sorry. I thought we were talking about sequels that just recycle the first movie.
That could be the next topic.
Yeah, I think that was the end of my list. Like I had Rambo. What was it? No, just Rambo. Not like the last one that came out, but the one after
fourth
Rambo
one.
3. Yeah, the fourth one. The fourth one was really good.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked the fifth one too. It just felt weird. It didn't feel like Rambo.
No, it felt like I don't know what it felt like.
It felt like too much time has passed, is what it felt like. For me, it just felt like a lot like with Dumb and Dumber. It just felt like too much time has passed. Like they just let it go, man. Just let it go.
I mean, if it had just been like a new character, I'd have been like, okay, I get it. It would have been great. But I mean, this wasn't even like, Rambo's supposed to be a soldier. That's the whole thing. Is like, he's fighting a war that he didn't want to, and then this is like, okay, well, he's at home now, and he's going to Mexico to fight a war. It was just weird. It was just like out of character. Yeah, like they've set him up so many times to be, a soldier, and then this one, it's like has nothing to do with the other one. I don't know. That's just
I kind of like the plot that they set him up in the fourth one, where he's like overseas. He's like just minding his own business. Like he's it's not where he wanted to be, but it's where he ends up. And then through circumstances, he's just like, I guess I got to do what I'm best at. And then he just goes to killing and murder mode. And then it's like, but it's like modern day. I think that was like before action movies started to get a little too like bloody and everything. It was like one of the first instances where like he's like lifting guys up. Excuse me. With like he's lifting them up and like cutting them with his like fingernails. Oh my god, Rambo's killing me.
the spirit of John Rambo doesn't want you to talk smack about his fifth movie.
Yeah. Last Blood was good.
But yeah, definitely deserves to be on the list. I think we got a pretty good list. That was a pretty decent list. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty happy with it too. So nobody else has any more honorable mentions?
I think that's good. Chris is just looking at the timer, looking at an hour and 45-minute video he's got to edit.
Really don't have too much to do. This was like a really good it's a really good thing. So
yeah, down to Rambo almost killing me at the end. What a twist.
Yeah. We might trim that part off, but we might leave it. I'm tempted to leave it in. I think it was funny, especially with
it's like I was mentioning, hey, Pixel grabs him by the throat.
All right, so I guess that's a good place as any to like put a pin in it. And I appreciate you guys being here. And before we go, any projects you guys got coming up? Anything you want to plug? Feel free. Jim, we'll let you go first.
Not really any projects coming up. I was doing a podcast with my goddaughter. Actually, she's like 10 years old, but I did show her like Indiana Jones. I was showing her Harry Potter. She grew up on a lot on Disney movies, and I'm even like showing her like, you know, like she showed me like The Little Mermaid, because I had never seen it before either, and she's like, "Well, what did you think of it?" I was like, "Yeah, it was good. It was okay. It was good." And she's like, "Well, what did you like about it?" I was like, "I don't know." She kind of, so you want the truth? She's like, "Yeah." I was like, well, she leaves her friends and family for a guy she can't talk to. For legs.
Brutal.
And I'm just like, I don't know. I don't like that. She kind of like, and then when she finally got her chance to like talk to him, and then she's just like, all right, bye, Dad. Bye, everything I ever knew. I'm going to go here now. Because, you know, he's cute. That was it. And a movie.
So yeah, guys, make sure to check out Jim on the on the Jim Goes Savage on Things That Everybody Loves podcast.
And then watch, to tie this right back in, today I actually saw a trailer for a new movie I think it's later this year or early next year, a Little Mermaid horror movie.
Yes, I saw that.
Did you saw that trailer?
Yeah, I did.
It didn't look that bad, actually.
No, and I mean, when you like look at the original fairy tale or story that was created, I mean, it kind of fits. So
yeah.
A lot of these fairy tales that Disney took are pretty dark. Like, you ever read the original Pinocchio story?
No.
Give that a read, dude.
Okay.
That is wild.
Okay.
I said into my next episode where we dive into
It is absolutely wild. It's like if you read that story, you're like, I cannot believe Disney even thought of like taking this idea for anything.
Yeah,
it's one of them. It's crazy.
That sounds crazy.
Sorry, I digress. Jim, go ahead.
What's the podcast called, Jim?
It's called the Pizzeria Podcast.
Okay. Available everywhere?
Available everywhere.
Okay. Guys, be sure to check that out. Make sure after we're done with this to send me a link so I can add it in the description. And Dave?
Yep.
Yep.
I'm just messing him. I'm just messing with you. I'm just messing with you. First and foremost, thanks so much for having me, dude. It's always an absolute blast to come on the channel. If you guys like content like this, I have a podcast I do with my buddy Adam called Let's Talk Nerdy, available on all platforms, where we talk about games, movies, just a whole bunch of stuff. So if you like that stuff, give us a look up. Let's Talk Nerdy podcast on all platforms: YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can type Let's Talk Nerdy into a search bar. Go ahead and do it, and we will probably show up.
And you should. Very cool, guys. There's some very cool stuff there. So I thank you guys for being here. You guys are always welcome to come back, and we will see you guys next time. So thanks again, and talk to you guys later.
Later, boys.
Hasta luego.
Well, I hope you had as much fun listening to that as I did recording that with my friends. I just want to give another huge shout out to Jim and Dave. Guys, thanks for coming on here and chit-chatting about movies with me. I hope you had a blast. It was a lot of fun. Be sure to check out their projects. They'll be linked down in the description. But with that being said, please be sure to like, subscribe, comment, share, do all the social media things. Help me fight the YouTube algorithm. Ring the bell. Be sure to check out thewellroundeddude.com. And with that being said, we will see you guys next time. Take care. Peace.